everybody, welcome back to Top of the Muffin to you! This is episode 5. I'm here, of course, with Winston Hall. And today we're going to be talking about golf. And specifically Kramer and golf. Who wants to have some fun?
I do.
Now, are you saying you want to have fun, or do you really want to have fun?
I'm just saying that. I would love to have
golf?
somebody bust in my door and ask that, out of the blue. I do.
Sure, I do. I love fun. I'm a big fan of fun. Golf, I don't have that much personal experience. I've played it here and there. But it is certainly a game of highs and lows. It can really make you feel on top of the world, and it can make you want to kill somebody. And we see that with Kramer in Seinfeld. He definitely has the highs, and then he has the time where he comes in with the golf clubs and just slams them on the floor.
Down.
You want these? Kicks them. I don't want them. I stink. Anyway, today we're talking about Kramer and golf. I see you have a few golf-themed items in your background right there.
Yes. Well, I should give my golf background to explain why I am an expert on this topic. When I was 15 years old, I had a boss that told me we got Mondays off. Every Monday. And I said, awesome. And he said, because on Mondays, we play golf. And so it was a stipulation of my employment at 15 years old. Every Monday, I played golf with my boss.
And it's not a choice you have. You must play. It's golf day.
It's golf day. And then when I met my wife, Donna, her father, my father-in-law, is a big-time golfer. We just went to Top Golf, and he obliterated all of us. It's very good. And he's 81, maybe 82. Really good golfer. So my home is a lot of golf things. So what's as interesting about golf are the people who choose to play it. And their reasons why nice. Ring light. The reasons why they choose to play golf. For some people, it's a passion. For some, it's an obsession. And for some people, like Kramer, you ask yourself, why would this guy play golf? What about him makes him a golf player?
That's exactly right. Question. Yeah. What's his relation? What's his motivation? Sure. Well, we have a few categories to run through today. And the first thing I want to get into are things that don't really have to do with Kramer playing golf, but it's when golf comes up in the episode. We'll just throw them in there for consideration. First of all, the magic loogie argument with Keith Hernandez. If you remember,
to the left.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Kramer's holding a golf club in that scene, and then Jerry takes the golf club to kind of point and use. So that's just the use of a golf club.
Right.
But Kramer has it in that scene. The point is he just has one.
He has. That's the nature of golf people. They have golf things around.
And then the other JFK tie-in right there is, of course, JFK's golf clubs, which Elaine bids on for Peterman. She's in a bidding war with the Braless Wonders, Sue Ellen Mischke. Wins the golf clubs. Then the mechanic steals Jerry's car from the mechanic shop, which happens to have JFK's golf clubs. Kramer and Newman happen to be on their Michigan bottle deposit the trip and find the car, and the golf clubs start getting thrown out at the car. And then one other thing I wanted to mention is when Kramer is brought in for questioning about mail fraud, when he stops wanting his mail. As long as I stop getting my mail. And they bring in
everything okay, Postal Employee Newman?
Yes. And they bring in the Postmaster General, and he sits with Kramer in a dimly lit room, and he says, I had to cancel my round of golf. Do you like golf, Kramer? Yeah. Anyway, so that's just a few little things about golf, and then we'll get into more of Kramer's direct involvement.
Okay, so let me interject something here, because we talked. It might have been the very first episode of Top of the Muffin to you about the geography of New York.
Yeah.
And so the first thing I think about when I'm in Manhattan is, where are they golfing?
Well, I have an answer for at least one of
Okay.
those.
Because they do mention it at one point. So when you talk about the nuts and bolts of living in Manhattan, that's a big one. Is just to golf, you got to make a great effort to get to the
Manhattan
golf
is
course.
not known for having, an
No.
exorbitant amount
Oh,
of golf courses.
right. So what's
Whatever
the
it
answer?
is, you're traveling. You got to go,
Right.
which
Right.
means you really have to want to go. You got to put
Right.
in an
That's
effort.
that's what I was getting at.
Yeah, Kramer takes golf seriously. That's
Yes.
that's one of the things that we see from this. Where does he golf?
Where does he
Well,
golf?
in the episode with Gendison, which we'll come
Uh,
back to,
mm,
Portland Golf Course,
Cortland Golf Course.
Cortland Country Club
No way.
in Cortland, New York.
A country club.
Yes, and
Who's a
let's
member
get
of the
the
country club?
distance from New York City to Cortland. Wow, that is a 3.5 hour drive.
What? Wow.
Kramer does have a car.
He does have
Um,
a car. That's
he does not
that's
have a regular job either. That's part of what, I think he might spend a lot of his time golfing, actually.
yes.
But the other place that we hear mentioned is the Westchester Golf Club.
Okay.
Um, isn't that a private club? Oh, it's private. It's very private.
See but this ties into the conversation about Kramer's income,
Yeah,
right?
a little bit.
And
It
you
deals
know,
with his lifestyle, with
his
how he lives,
lifestyle.
which deals out. Westchester is an hour north of the city.
Okay, that's a little more feasible. That's a
Anyway,
long way to go for
he
golf.
takes it seriously enough to travel.
Mm-hmm.
He is often practicing in Jerry's apartment. One time he comes and he says, I got it. I finally got it, meaning he's tried other times before. It's
Yes.
hips. It's all hips. And he's practicing his swing. And why go outside when you can just go to Jerry's apartment and practice your swing? Anyway, so that is he definitely takes golf seriously. We don't know where this comes from, I don't think. He just loves golf. There are people like that. They just love golf.
Wait,
Anyway.
by the way, where do you golf? You said you have golf
Oh, oh,
like
Winston.
a couple times. Like, tell me your
I've
golf
golfed
story.
like one real golfing outing in my life with Justin Hall from Gatesville.
Hall.
We went to Hamilton, Texas, to the
Hamilton.
Hamilton Golf Course, and I golfed there once, like when I was in high school. And since
Nice.
then, I've been to like Top Golf and the driving range occasionally. But it was the worst because what I remember is like on my second shot, the first one goes like into the rough to the right of the fairway. My second shot, I just hit this beautiful curving. It like followed the fairway
Yeah.
and didn't get on the green, but it was. It was an amazing shot. And so I'm just like, oh, golf! I love it. This is great. It's so easy. Anyway, the rest of it was just a disaster. I couldn't hit
So
anything. I had a lot of whiffs. And because of that
Oof.
second beautiful shot, it really made all the others sting way worse.
It's manic. It's so manic, golf.
Yeah.
Which again, going back to Kramer, makes you wonder why somebody so spastic and out there would gravitate towards the sport that requires the most order, the most civility, the most rule following.
Yeah.
Why would somebody like Kramer do that of all sports?
You definitely have to be, there's a mental toughness aspect to it. You're out there, I mean, you have a caddy sometimes.
Yeah.
He's out there without a caddy probably some of the time.
Were you going to bring up his caddy friend, the one that came to Jerry's
Stan the
apartment?
caddy. No, I was going to say, you're out there alone. It's not like a team sport. Where
Right,
you're
right.
communicating and you have other people around you who can pick. No, it's just you. And so the
Oh,
highs and lows are bigger. Yeah, golf can make you elated and can destroy your soul. Some activities that are like that. They have really high peaks and valleys, and golf is one of those.
Well, what I love about Kramer is he brings those highs and lows back with him from the course.
Yes.
Like, okay, so if it's really a 3-hour drive or a 1-hour drive, and he walks up to his apartment with the clubs and is still stewing enough to come in there and slam them down and say, I stink, and kick the bag.
It's
He's
hard
still
to stay
stewing.
angry that long.
Right, that's what I'm getting at. He really, So my experience with golf is the people that, well, first of all, if you're a perfectionist, it's not the sport for you unless you're Tiger Woods. But the people
Well,
that get the
even he
most,
had to go. He had to learn early on and go
yeah,
through a period of
the people that
struggle.
get the most worked up about it are the ones who take it so seriously. And that those people are no fun to golf with. I'm not naming
Yeah,
names, but
yeah,
it's like it's it's like getting mad at a bowling alley if your ball goes in the gutter. It's like really, like what are you trying to do? Win the PGA Tour? Like come on. But
yeah.
it's
You're there to have fun.
so at least once Kramer we know was I'm trying to remember all these, but he came in angry about how he and then when you mentioned he was trying to fix his shot, like he cared enough to try to fix it.
Yeah.
So golf clubs are inherently they have some inherent comic qualities about them. Golf clubs. First
They
of
can really
all,
mess up your balance.
yeah, they're top heavy. They're
Yeah.
top heavy. They're clunking, they're falling, and then they have a funny shape. I've always thought that was funny to me. Like I'm gonna hit the ball farther. Let me get out the biggest, goofiest looking club I have. You know, like there's nothing cool about it unless you're,
Why did
I
they
guess,
shape
Tiger.
them that way?
I don't know. Like they're bulbous. That's the word. They're Wait, hang on. Let me get my Big Bertha out.
Let's get into the funny shapes of the golf clubs.
Well, we're getting into the comedy of golf. They're they're
Oh, I'm not
bulbous like
judging. I think it is funny.
that's not even a big one. This is a what is it? I don't
Look
golf.
at that
Three
shape.
woods. Big Bertha 3-wood Callaway. But
What are they thinking?
what is this?
What even is that?
I mean, I don't think we really have yet to really appreciate the arbitrary nature of the shape of sports implements.
If they come across, like, if you're okay, we do the human race goes extinct, and then another race encounters our remains later, and they come across that,
They'll have
that's
no
going to be
idea.
their reaction. What even is this?
Is it some sort of torture device? Like they'll
Is
have
it a
no idea.
probe?
What is it? 11
That
degree
doesn't
Big
make sense
Bertha.
either.
No, no. So anyway, they're it, in any lens. If you look at golf, it's comedy. It's comical,
Right.
right?
And if you're designing a sport, why make it a ball this big going in a hole this big,
Yeah,
spread 50 miles apart?
and then
And
you
then
look
these
out.
funny looking sticks to hit it with?
Yeah, and then these you out there, and these little carts are just driving around in circles out in the pasture.
And
Like
then
it's
all these rules. Like, no, you
rules.
can only have this type of stick and not this other. Oh, this is a millimeter too long. You're disqualified forever. Um,
Yeah, and famously, I think you're going to get into this about when you can touch the ball,
he picks up the ball and
and he
cleans it.
cleans it. What's the big deal?
Yeah. Well, let's
Like,
talk about Gendison. His outing with Gendison.
yes, let's talk
Um,
about this.
yeah, former baseball player Steve
Hmm.
Gendison. They're at the Cortland Golf Club. So Kramer's playing with him, and he's beating me by a couple strokes. And then all of a sudden, he picks up the ball off the fairway and cleans it.
And
And they're
cleans it.
like, and cleans it. And there's like, what's the problem? Sorry. But the rules clearly state that you can only clean on the green or whatever. I don't even know what the rule is, but it's
Yeah,
against the
on
rule.
the green you can pick up your ball.
On the green, you can pick up and clean your, but not on the fairway.
No,
And so this
no, no.
he penalized him a stroke, and Gendison loses it, and they're face to
What?
face like a manager and an umpire. Just, hey, what are you talking about? And they're screaming in each other's face. And so the point here, Kramer he knows the rules. He takes golf seriously, and he takes the rules in what apparently is just a friendly outing. You're talking
Right.
about the people who are not fun to play golf with. He takes this rule very seriously, and it causes this big dust up between them.
Yes. So we mentioned we've talked often about the paradox of Kramer's existence, and this is a perfect example of the absolute paradox because Kramer is the one guy who socially or society follows no rules. He has no 9 to 5 job that we know of. We covered that in the previous episode. And yet, he operates outside the bounds of all normal reality. And yet, when it comes to golf, he says, without rules, there's chaos.
Yes.
So, you remember when
Without rules, there is chaos.
chaos. So we took
He appreciates the rules on a deeper level than just golf.
this is the same man who painted over stripes in the highway he adopted to make the lanes wider. I can't think of more any explicit definition of rules that must be followed in society. Stay in your lane. So in
Well, he
Kramer's
adopts it. It's
brain,
like, well, we can do away with lane lines 1 and 3.
but loses it when his golf partner picks up his ball to clean it. What in the world?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a complete stickler on the golf course.
So we took a deep dive into George and his bathroom psyche. Maybe we got a little bit of something going on here with Kramer, a man who lives with no rules.
We're jumping in.
He has this one spot in his life, this one little corner of his psyche where the rules absolutely matter.
Right.
Maybe that's his one little, I don't know the psychology terms, but his no rules over here. So he's got this one little place where rules matter, and that somehow appeases that part of him.
Well, one thing I'll bring up, as I was researching this, the thing that keeps coming up is how seriously he takes golf and his golf time. He gets to go into the very private Westchester Golf Club because he meets the golf pro who lives there, who works there, and gives him a Cuban cigar. And he says every time we give him a cigar, he'll get in. And then the cigars, lost them all in the fire. And so he doesn't want to go back to the public courses. I can't. I won't.
Oh, yeah. They're what do you say? They're covered in brown spot?
Do you know what it's like there? It's all patchy. They don't rake the sand traps. Not to mention the caliber of people you have to play with. I can't. I won't. And so he hates. He won't go back there. And then he goes to what I believe was the Cuban consulate in New York City to try to figure out a way to get more illegal Cuban cigars. And he ends up taking some of the people there on the golf trip by exchanging his jacket.
Right.
But those are the links he goes to maintain his golf habit.
So I want to take a really sharp left turn here for a second because you're going to love what I'm about to tell you. I have played prestigious golf courses, and there's definitely an air of, to them. Dress codes, they'll kick you out, if you're not wearing the right thing. They're expensive. They're very expensive. Okay, I played one in San Antonio with my other boss one time. I didn't look at the green fee. I don't want to know. But I want to tell you right now, my sister Sarah moved to a town in West Texas called Winters, out by Abilene. Their mascot is the Winters Blizzards. That's their mascot.
I get it.
And their mascot looks like a blue tornado. Anyway, when she moved, this is a tiny, tiny town in West Texas. And when she moved there, she said, "Oh, by the way, there's a country club here." And I said, "Winters has a country club?" She said, "Oh, yeah. I got to check it out." I look them up on social media. And then later tried to play around there, but got rained out. But it's this little West Texas golf course. And their Facebook page is the most entertaining thing you've ever seen because they're just posting what happens there, not realizing it. It's like comedy gold. It's like the best thing you've ever seen. The first thing I saw was a guy hit a hole-in-one, and they took his picture, and he was wearing cut off, like a sleeveless T-shirt and a cowboy hat, tennis shoes, holding a beer. And they said, "Congratulations, Randy, on your hole-in-one," or whatever. Then later, they had a small flood on the creek that goes through the course, and they had this pile of debris, flood debris that was blocking the creek. So what would any country club do, right? They put tannerite in the dam and shot it with a rifle. And it
What? They
exploded.
put what? Put what?
Tannerite?
I don't know what
Tannerite?
that is.
It's an explosive component. It's like C4. I don't know. I don't know where you get it. There's a video of this on Facebook. They put
So
it
the
in the
dam
dam.
is causing the flooding, and they decide to blow it up too.
Yeah. This is a golf course. Okay.
Yeah.
And the golf course manager guy or whatever, the maintenance guy, decides obviously the best way to get rid of this dam is to blow it up. So he puts tannerite. This was on Facebook. That's what I thought. And they're like loading up with a rifle, aim at the tannerite, and boom, the dam explodes. And I thought, holy cow! So this is a golf course. And then at one point they had too many rattlesnakes, so they start trapping rattlesnakes. So the same guy is blowing up dams and trapping rattlesnakes. And then they had a hog hunt because they had too many hogs on the golf course. And and finally, I go to this golf course to see it with my own eyeballs. And the clubhouse has like wood panel walls, and it's 100% the honor system. Like nobody mans the clubhouse. You'll go in, and
Oh.
everything you do, you take account for yourself. The golf course is dirt mostly, like it's like dirt,
Yeah.
and then the greens are green. But we got rained out on the first hole, so I didn't get to experience the Winners Country Club in all its glory. But then I see on Facebook they had a skeet shooting competition, right? You know, clay shooting, like
Sure.
with
Yeah.
shotguns.
Pull.
And it was held on one of the tee boxes overlooking the creek that had the explosion previously. I mean,
Yeah.
it was just the funny
A true
rattlesnakes and explosions.
West Texas country golf course
Anyway, that was a
with
total
country
sidebar.
solutions to their golf
Yeah.
problems.
It seems like the last thing they do is play golf. Everything
Yeah,
else is about drinking
some of
beer.
these small town. Well, we're from a small town in Texas. We have a
Oh
country
yeah,
club and a golf course. I
oh
mean,
yeah.
and it's
I never
kind of a
actually,
big part of the city.
I never played that course, believe it or not, ever,
Yeah,
not once.
I didn't either.
We should,
Why would you?
we should, we should go. We should go do that. You have to be a member.
But like our high school had a golf team, and
Oh yeah, I had friends that golf there all the time, which were probably the same friends as you because we're a tiny town.
that's
Tiny
right
school.
because there's only 5 people in that town.
Neely Rayner, shout out Neely Rayner,
Shout out to Neely.
Neely Rayner, wherever you are. All right.
All right,
So anyway, okay, back to Kramer is
he takes it seriously.
he takes
Why?
it seriously enough so that of all the things he could be snobby about, he doesn't want to play public golf courses. Patchy, brown, dry.
He won't. He refuses.
He won't. Which again goes back to money. He's either paying or pulling favors to play the nicer clubs.
Well, I think, again, referring back to our previous episode, he may be paying. He may be rich.
Yeah, he
So,
might be. So maybe money's not an issue. So
yeah.
so he gets in the
But he
fight.
does have a deal. You can tell at some points, he like giving the cigars, giving away his jacket. He has some deals to work out with getting onto certain courses.
I just randomly thought of when Jerry picked up the Cubans in Florida. The actual Cubans.
They're real people from Cuba. I said Cubans. What'd you think I meant? Kramer's upset with Jerry. Like, why?
Yeah.
What's the problem here?
All right, so then poor Pinkin. Poor little
Okay,
Pinkin.
yeah. So he Gendison, he's fighting with Gendison, and then later Kramer busts into Jerry's apartment as he is wont to do, and says, "Turn on the TV," and it's a news story about Bobby Pincus being murdered, and being held for questioning in the murder is Steve Gendison, who he just played golf with the same day. What if he got so upset by the golf that he murdered the dry cleaner? Well, technically, you don't need any extra incentive to murder a dry cleaner, but
My favorite part of that news story where they're all watching about poor little Pincus is when the newscaster gives a very specific description of the type of pants.
gray Sanzabelt slacks.
Like of all the needless information to
They
give in
were
a news
involved in
story.
a dispute over some gray Sanzabelt slacks.
Oh, that's
What kind
fantastic.
of dispute? Well, anyway, the news story. Earlier that day, a groundskeeper at the Cortland Country Club said an irate Gendison was leaving the property or something. Whether or not there is a connection remains to be seen. And of course, Kramer's very freaked out. Well, it also speaks to the highs and lows of golf. Sometimes you get so mad you have to go out and murder a dry
Murder a
cleaner.
dry cleaner, yeah.
Poor Pincus.
Poor,
Poor little Pincus.
poor little pink.
Poor Pincus.
Hey, I just had a great idea. Well, I just thought, you remember how we were talking about the comic nature of different types of sport? And if somebody came here, like an alien, they'd be like, we don't know what this is. I just thought about
Mm,
something. Golf is a sport where you swing down, right?
mm.
And baseball is a sport where you swing in front of you. We need to invent a sport right here. We'll call it Cosmo Ball or something,
This is brilliant.
where you
You're
swing
above it.
above your head.
Both of those are side to side. So here's golf, here's
Yeah,
baseball,
baseball.
here's
Here's Cosmo Ball or whatever.
up here. Yeah.
Yeah, up. Yeah, and of course the obvious danger
Although
is if the pitcher throws too low, it hits you right in the face.
I was about to say, I think it's better the way you're doing it, straight up and down, directly over your head.
Yeah, this is what I'm thinking. Straight, like you're facing at a
You're
perpendicular
right.
angle. And the thing is, the ball that you use in Cosmo Ball has to have some kind of consequence. Like it's covered in paint, or it is a paintball, or something, or it's got like
We
sharp
could call it
corners.
paintball.
And the consequence is, if the pitcher pitches too low, it hits you in the face.
Well,
There you go.
the
That's the
question that I
sport.
go to, I love it. A projectile is launched directly at someone's face, and they have to hit it in an up and down motion, which, by the way, would only send the projectile either straight ahead or down. It's not like going far at all. But in golf and baseball, you're trying to go, often trying to go very far. This is just going to go straight down. So it's really just avoiding getting hit in the face. We could call it avoiding getting hit in the face. Um,
Avoiding getting hit in the baseball. Here's the catch is, it's the combination of all sports. So if you hit the ball in front of you, you take off running, the other team tackles you, and then they all peg you with the ball like dodgeball.
okay. It's brilliant.
Over
It
the head.
feels like, for comedic purposes, there should be no safety equipment. But in the age we live in, everything is getting kind of safer.
Ooh.
So we may need like a face mask, which, depending on how you design the face mask, a large paintball hitting a face mask right in front of you and perhaps dispersing it in a funny pattern. It could work.
It could work. Maybe it's the opposite of every sport you've ever known. It's like you wear only a jock strap. We'll start the club. We'll start a local league and see if it grows. Like pickleball. Who named
Directly.
pickleball? Right?
A
Like
sport
pickleball.
called pickleball is doing quite well.
Pickle.
And, oh, what's the other one? Yeah, there's a thing called banana ball now, which
Oh,
is a
like
variation of
baseball.
baseball. Have you
Yes.
heard of this?
The Savannah Bananas. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I've heard about it. He
yeah.
combined
It sounds pretty fun.
the guy combined circus principles, literally, with baseball, and you get
Yeah.
banana ball. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good, and
It-
I would watch that.
yeah. Well, it's so
Maybe that's
pervasive
where
now.
sports is evolving. I just saw an article today. That they're going to try to create a competitor for the NBA. They've done this with the like XFL, where they've tried to
Yeah.
compete with mainstream. Maybe all of our sports are evolving to more funny, kind of pun-based
Okay, we're talking about golf
principles.
today. We're talking about golf, right? Did you see that the league Tiger Woods just launched?
I sure did, the indoor golf league. Yeah,
Virtual indoor golf league. And
I think it's a great idea.
what they like about it is that you can hear the banter of the golfers. And the other day,
Finally,
the other day, one of the guys like sculled a ball from the bunker at like 100 miles an hour. Like he was trying to, just uh, hit it right onto the green, and it went far away. And they all started laughing. They all
yes.
started busting out laughing. Maybe you're onto something. That's where it's headed.
By the way, there's nothing funnier than taking something that takes itself way too seriously
Yeah.
and making fun. And golf, that's golf. I mean,
You know
people
what?
take golf way too seriously. It's rife for mockery.
Yeah, well, that's why Kramer and golf is such a hilarious combination.
That's
Because
right.
of all the sports, like I could have pictured Kramer bowling. You know, you got the big shoes and the
Be
funny
funny.
motions of bowling, but he that's the comedy of his life is that he gravitates to this like super serious sport where you can't even talk. Like you can't talk while people are.
Shh.
Can you imagine? That's the only
Someone
sport in the
mumbles behind
universe.
it. Shh. Quiet. You're out.
I wish they had spent a day with Kramer at the golf course just to see, because we never actually, except for when he's basically practicing, we never see his interactions with the golf course.
No, we never see him play.
Pay money to
Well,
see
we
that.
don't see him on a golf course. Let's say
Right.
that.
We see him practicing in a couple places.
You
All
know,
right, so
maybe it's something that keeps his life in balance
that's what
because
I'm thinking.
he lives in such a chaotic, ruleless existence that he needs this thing that doesn't take up as much time, but he takes it so seriously that it creates balance in his life, perhaps.
Yeah. We're talking about a
He has a
man
need for structure, almost. And maybe it's why he went into the military as well. Because he was in the
Ooh.
military briefly.
Briefly. This is a man who doesn't own a refrigerator, right? But he
You
golfs.
can get
And
anything out of mine anytime you want. You don't have a refrigerator, do you? Well, not here. He doesn't have one here.
that's great. All right, so
All right.
so should we get to the big kahuna of golf
Well, there's
stories?
two things left.
Okay,
The
okay,
next thing I want to
okay.
get to is how good is he actually? So there's a
Oh,
question of how good he was, and they kind of address this in the episode with Stan the Caddy. Um,
okay.
this is we get to meet Stan the Caddy. We hear him. He seems very level-headed. Kramer holds him in very high regard. Here's what you do. You take a windbreaker. He's got advice for everything. What to wear going outside. He just takes him around. Stan the Caddy. Um, and in that episode, they say if he keeps improving, he's going to have a shot at the senior tour. That's kind of his goal in that one. Now then, he sees Sue Ellen Mishke walking down the sidewalk wearing a bra as a top, which causes him to get into an accident and hurts his left arm.
Yeah.
And so he's trying to sue her because this was his moneymaker. He was about to go make the senior tour. And Jackie Charles is questioning him. What score did you make on your last outing? And he went, 3 under par. 3 under par. That's what the professionals shoot, don't they? And Kramer says, if they're lucky. So in this episode, they're trying to build up how good, and it's part of a legal strategy as well. I'm sure you're
Right.
trying to get the most out, so you're trying to play up how good Kramer is. But is he really that good? He spends a lot of time. Now, he could be just spending all of his time on golf and practicing his golf swing, etc., etc. He spends time at the golf course. But he does go to the beach with 600 Titleists that I got from the driving range in the trunk of my car. And
Who
it's
wants to
just
have
sitting
fun?
there. Huh?
So who wants to have fun?
And it's just sitting there, and he can't hit it. And
Mm.
so now it's a beach, and it's sandy. It's not like a regulation golf, but he can't hit it.
Good
So
golfers don't whiff.
is he really that good?
I would probably say no. Because look, let me tell you, my father-in-law, excellent golfer.
Hmm.
When you're a really good golfer, your idea of a bad shot is when it doesn't go exactly where you want it.
Right.
People like me, a bad shot is when you miss. And I will tell you from personal experience, I have golfed with a PGA golfer. My good friend Randy Wolf, shout out Randy Wolf, links player. He was on the PGA Tour for 4 or 5 years when he was a young man. And it was back in those days, you didn't get the sponsorships. Like you drove around in a used car, and if you got
Sure.
lucky, you won. But it was hard to support a family, so he only did it for 4 or 5 years. I golfed with him on a golf course in Colorado, and he could literally say, "You see that the nook in the tree up there where there's like a gap?" He said, "I'm
It's a
gonna go."
6-inch gap.
Yeah, this was when he was in his 60s. This is like 40
Yeah.
years after he was a pro. He'd say, "I'm gonna go through that to get on the green," and then
Yeah.
he would do it exactly and
It's
put it by the
amazing.
pin.
It's
Yeah,
amazing what they can do. They're
yeah,
amazingly skilled
yeah,
and
and
talented.
it
Yeah.
never translates on TV. So to that point is, if you're a good golfer, the idea of missing or whiffing
Yeah.
is just comedy. Like it would never happen. You have to do it on purpose. You have to whiff on
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah.
So the fact that Kramer whiffs at all and then gets mad about it, to me says he's a horrible golfer. Like horrible.
um, amazing what actual golf players can do. Kramer doesn't seem like he's that guy, but I mean, we don't know for sure.
Right. So, by the way, when he's out there, you've heard the old joke about hitting the broadside of a barn.
Sure.
I would think hitting golf balls into the ocean, first of all, being not environmentally friendly at all,
No, let's say right here that we here at Top of the Muffin don't condone hitting golf balls
we
into the
don't
ocean.
condone hitting golf balls into the ocean. No. But I will say this. I have a buddy who teaches scuba, and the one reason why I would probably want to do that is that they pay people to scuba dive into the water hazards at golf courses and get out all the golf balls. Did you know this?
Sure. Yeah, well, someone has to.
The problem is Louisiana, where I live, there's alligators. So I don't want to.
Oh, boy.
I don't want to be looking for golf balls in the
Wow,
water.
that's an interesting career.
They pay good money because the balls
digging, scuba diving to get golf balls out of alligator-infested waters in southeast United States.
That sounds like something Kramer would do. Yeah,
that should be a reality show.
It's a thing, and the reason I haven't done it yet is because I'm lazy.
And because you don't want to die.
Oh yeah, I don't get eaten by. Well, and so some of these water hazards are small, so I feel like they would know if there was an alligator in there. But anyway,
like 99% of the alligators out of the water, but it's acting all sneaky. Like, no, like come on in. There's lots of golf balls in here. Come get them.
So anyway, back to Kramer. I don't know why he thought that any of that was a good idea. Like, why of all places? Because first of all, you don't get the balls back.
Well, it's right? Joy. He's loves this idea. To him, this is joy incarnate. He wants to have fun.
Yeah.
We hit him into the ocean. We watch it go sailing up into the sky, holds there for a moment, and then...
That's like childlike joy. It's childlike celebration of the sounds and the fun of hitting a golf ball into the water.
It's not environmentally friendly. I want to restate, we don't condone hitting anything into the ocean, really.
No. Don't get me started on one-use plastics, but anyway.
Yeah, but Kramer's childlike joy is kind of beautiful to watch. His enthusiasm is fun to watch.
So in possibly one of the most beautiful full circle moments of all of Seinfeld, famously, is when the golf ball ends up in the blowhole of the whale.
It's a hole-in-one.
It's a hole-in-one.
Had Kramer been trying to do this would have been, I would imagine most golfers have those magical moments once in a while, or the occasional hole-in-one. And if this was something he was trying to do, I mean, it's still an amazing shot. It is a hole-in-one. Mm-hmm. Maybe the most famous one could conceive of. But it is purely by accident, I believe.
Right.
Because Kramer has no idea.
Here's my question, and you tend to know the chronology better than I do. Is that the last mention of Kramer golfing? I have to look that up.
I don't think so.
It's in the so.
That's a good question. I don't know. To be honest,
we'll do a what I should have said episode for that. I have a story kind of like that. And it's the time I almost retired from golf. A friend of mine, Austin Tonroy, shout out Austin Tonroy, takes me golfing. It was a hot summer day in San Antonio. We got to the 13th hole and it was like backed up. The middle of the afternoon, we're miserable. And I had an approach shot from, I want to say maybe 80 yards away. You know, like the shot right before you get on the green. It was at the bottom of the hill and I hit the ball. And it was the only time at that point, like 15 years of golfing, that it felt perfect. And the ball went up and disappeared out of sight. Okay. We walk up to the green. I can't find the ball anywhere. We look and we look and we're looking in the bushes, looking. And Austin says, "Hey man, we got to move on. Like, you got to drop a ball." And then as an afterthought, Austin looked in the cup and the ball was in the hole.
Yeah.
And he yelled, "It's in the hole!" And at that point, we were both so hot and miserable. He said, "Let's just go home." And that was the last shot.
Showmanship. End on a high note.
And I know. And I was
all right. That's
tempted.
It for me.
That's it for me. I was literally tempted. I mean, it wasn't a hole in one. You know, it was like a birdie, but I was tempted to never golf again because it was such a perfect ending.
You'll never do any better than that. Well, I'm not saying that's the thought that goes through your head.
I probably won't do it better. So then my thought about Kramer was, if he was going to walk away from golf, that's the moment to walk away.
Yeah.
He had the joy.
A magical shot. Absolute magic.
Joy, a magical hole in one. He gets the ball back.
That's right.
Put the ball on
George Costanza, God love him, pretending to be a marine biologist, saves that whale's life. And again, we are pro whales here at Top of the Muffin. We would never want to see any whales breathing obstructed by any object. But it's a happy ending because stupid George Costanza, well, it actually isn't his lie. Jerry puts him in this lie. But he commits to the lie. He becomes a marine biologist in that moment and saves that whale's life.
Here's a Top of the Muffin fun fact. I know of a school in the United States of America, and it might be the only one, whose their mascot is the whales, the fighting whales.
Oh, yeah, sure.
My wife's, I call it a grade school. It was like kindergarten through 8th grade. The Arden Cahill Academy in New Orleans, Louisiana. Shout out Arden Cahill. She was a very sweet woman. And they had a whale in their family crest. So when she started the school, their mascot, they're the fighting whales. And I don't think I've ever seen any other school with the whales.
There are a few whales out there. I mean, if you want to talk mascots, I don't know if you remember, I was the mascot at Trinity University.
Yes, you
in the
were.
year 2002.
Oh,
and
man,
they made the national championship that year.
Yes,
and I follow mascot, and there are some bizarre, but we're getting off topic. There's a lot of strange mascots out there.
Anyway, look it up. The Arden Cahill Academy in New Orleans, home of the Fighting Whales. And
the Fighting Whales.
I don't know what noise they make.
Wait, home of the Fighting Whales.
Something like that. They have a fight song. I mean, I don't know what the actual mascot looks like. This is very important. It's hard transitionally to have a sea creature become a land mascot. Let's just throw that out there. The dolphins,
All right.
Like well, they don't have legs. They don't.
How are they going to play football? How do the Miami Dolphins pick that one?
Moreover, when you put a person to wear the mascot, your sea creature, by definition, is going to have legs.
Also, I mean, what I always think of is you want your mascot to strike fear in the hearts of your enemies.
Thank you.
And a dolphin, I mean, the dolphins, the cute, giggly dolphin is going,
You know who should be a mascot? They're large, heavy, vicious animals. Tuna. Have you ever seen
now that could
a tuna? Have you ever seen somebody trying to land a tuna? It's dangerous.
I wouldn't want to mess with that. They're huge.
Home of the fighting tuna. I'm just saying, there's a disconnect between the image.
Scarier than a dolphin or a whale.
A tuna is way scarier than a dolphin.
Yeah. Oh, we need to do some kind of underappreciated scary animals out there.
Oh, let's start with a tuna. Because remember,
So,
you can tuna fish. Oh no, wait, I said it backwards. Dang. You can,
I
you can
know where this is going.
remember, you can tune a guitar, but you can't tune a fish.
Yeah, that was good.
Uh, I
Did
love
you
it the
know
punchline.
this is a bigger left turn than? So the plot of Star Trek 4, a giant alien tube, a
Okay,
big spaceship in tube shape, shows up at Earth and disrupts their entire power grid and is about to kill the whole race, basically.
of course.
And they keep making these sounds, and they realize that the sounds they're making is whale language. But whales have gone extinct in the year
Oh,
in the 24th
right.
century, and so Kirk and his crew have to go back in time. They slingshot around the sun to the 1980s, rescue 2 whales, bring them back forward in time, and then the whales talk to the aliens and negotiate the safe release of the humans. And that is actually the plot of Star Trek 4.
You could take those characters out and put Seinfeld characters into that plot, and it would make just as much sense. It'd be just as funny.
Star Trek is also mentioned a couple times in Seinfeld. Maybe we need to
That's
do a Star Trek topic.
that's a whole nother
When
episode.
Jerry
Yeah.
is
Wrath of Khan.
consoling Susan's parents. Yes.
Yeah.
She's not really dead if we find a way to remember her. All right.
Uh,
Well, let's see.
I feel like this topic is ending of its own volition.
Yeah,
We've
exactly.
talked about
I
every
just think it
facet
should
of,
resolve itself of its own volition. I don't think we should change the subject until.
we've talked about Kramer and golf to every extent possible. There's nothing more to say.
I think so. I don't think there's anything else to go over, but he takes it seriously. It's a big part of his life. Perhaps it maintains balance. We don't know where it comes from. And he also has one of the most magical shots that one could even imagine.
Legend. Legend.
Is that a
what
title
number-
list?
Hole in one. What number episode is it? 5?
5.
5. I can't wait to see what we're going to talk about in our 6th episode.
I can't wait.
Who wants to have fun?
What's it going to be next time? I mean, who knows? All right.
knows?
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, y'all. Appreciate it.
Until next time.